Hello. Hey,
How you
finally.
doing? Yeah, you're all right.
I'm all right, mate. 2 seconds. You okay?
Yeah,
Well, okay, Barry, first of all, thank you for coming onto this podcast. Okay, much appreciated. And as you know, you are the first person to be on the Mission Transition CV podcast. So welcome. Obviously,
yeah.
you're in the UK at the moment, and we're here in the UAE.
Just makes it a small world, doesn't it? When you're over there and I'm here. So
It
yeah,
sure does, mate. It sure does. Well, listen, like the reason why we're doing this today is to, show you off basically about what you've done so far, in your in the military and the civilian life, and what you're looking to do next in your next chapter. So there's quite a lot to talk about, and a lot of people are going to be interested in what you have to say. Well, first of all, I think probably what's took my interest first of all in your experiences is probably the most current thing that you've just done, which is in humanitarian aid. Can you tell me a little bit more about that, what you've done and everything? Because that's a fantastic thing to do.
yeah. It just came out of the blue, really. I set up email alerts for this particular company, and a job fell through that particular day. It was just so lucky that I had the email
Yeah.
through. The jobs fell through, so I might as well just apply for it. And it was a country that I was interested in, and I was qualified for it. And within, I think it was a week to 10 days, I was out there. So.
Wow. And what was that like actually being on the ground? That's a fantastic feeling of what you're doing. You are making a difference. So that must have made you feel really, really good.
Yeah, it was making a difference out there was good. I met some really really good people that I was working with, and it was a really good experience as well. So yes.
Would you do it again if it was somewhere else, maybe, if you had the opportunity?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely would because it was not only was the experience good, it was an eye opener as well. And I
Yeah.
think if anybody had the chance, if it come up for anybody, I'd recommend it definitely.
That's good. That's good. And do you feel that obviously going backwards slightly now, you've been in the defence initially, okay, in the supply chain. I take it that that bit of experience that you had really, really helped you for this current role that you've just finished doing now, would you say?
Yeah, it definitely did because I was more than qualified to do the job. I knew that I was qualified to do the job, so
Yeah.
I knew that I could make a difference doing that what sort of work. So,
That's great. And just tell people, because people will be interested about your experience in the military. What part of the military was you in, how long, or where was you based, and any other places that you may have deployed if you did.
I shouldn't say I was only a reservist, but
Yeah,
yeah, I
I'm
was.
saying that, mate. We're all
No,
one.
no, I was RLC at the time. We did weekends like exercises. I did like field craft. I did map reading. Obviously, weapons training.
Yeah.
um, but that sort of thing. So, but in our military stores, I learned the art of the NSN number, which still goes in my head today, which came into effect later on, which came along quite well when I was contracting out in the Middle East and Afghanistan. So yeah, so
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, if my wife heard you say that, then because she was reserves as well, and that especially this day and age now, the reserves
yeah,
are a massive part of the military, and they have
yeah.
so much, experience and things to bring to the table. So you've obviously been to other countries to do this as well, yes? Yeah? So did you say Afghanistan as well?
Yeah, I've done Afghanistan. I've done Germany twice. I've done Saudi Arabia as well. Yeah,
So that key that is there actually. You say Saudi Arabia and obviously Afghanistan. Saudi Arabia is just across the border from where I am here. So
yeah,
that's a very key thing that you've got that experience of being in the Middle East, okay,
yeah,
which is very very unique for people that companies over here in the UAE and the Middle East are always wanting people that have had experience in the Middle East. And there you go. There you just said that you've been in Saudi Arabia, so that is something that you've got something to offer. Where if there was a role that you was applying for that was over here in the Middle East or even actually in Saudi, you having that experience could be quite key. So that's really important to be able to make sure that you echo that when you
yeah.
do look for your next role or your next adventure.
Yeah, definitely. So, and my last position was in the Middle East as well. But
Yeah. So there you go. So
so,
you've got a lot of
yeah,
experience. So that's really, really good. And I'm sure, like obviously your CV, from what you sent it to me the other day, it does kind of like mirror that as well. But it's also important to kind of like not over exaggerate it, but really lean on to that sort of experience that you've got. So that could be the difference between you and, let's say, another candidate that don't actually have the experience in the Middle East. So that's good.
Yeah,
So yeah, and that's a lesson for everybody out there. To be fair, that's something I found when I was doing my CV. You really need to adapt your CV to the particular role. Do you know what I mean? And tailor it. Never have the same sort of CV. Maybe have like two or three different CVs that can be tailored to different industries. Does that make sense? Yeah. Would you say that's what
yeah,
you've
it
got
does.
as
Yeah,
well? Yeah.
yeah, it
That's
does
good.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Exactly. And you've obviously got a lot of experience in like the supply chain part as well, which is something that I do over here in the defence for a defence company. So, do you want to talk a little bit more about your supply chain experience and things like that? Obviously, you touched on the NSNs and serial numbers from the military and that.
Yeah, that's one of the most important things is when you're working in a defence thing is knowing your not just the parts, is knowing the NATO stock number because
Yeah,
and yeah, matching it up because there's been a lot of times when been doing the stock take where that's like, well, that's not the right part because like the stock numbers
yeah,
the
yeah,
NSN doesn't match up, so you've got to go, oh, I've got to go back into the system. The system's another thing as well. You've got to know the system. There's loads of different systems that people use, especially with the MOD. There's loads of different systems they use.
yeah, definitely. Was it MJDI? Was it? I believe it used to be called, or it still is now. Is it
Oh,
MJDI?
yeah. Oh, they used Oliver when I was
Oh,
there.
Halifax. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bottoms as well was another one.
Oh, I've not heard
That was
that one now.
yeah, that was a absolute nightmare system to use. So dated, but yeah,
Yeah. But you've got to be able to keep all that upstairs, haven't you? So all the
yeah,
items, what they are, NSN, serial numbers, part numbers, depending what it is, and that's really really key. And it takes a particular person to be able to have that skill. That's what I strongly believe in. Obviously, I've had a little bit of supply chain. My experience is not as much as you in the supply chain, if I'm being completely honest. But it's very very key, and it does take a special person to be able to take that role on, and sometimes it can just be leaned like, everything could be just on you, that one person. And if you're lucky enough, you might have a team to support you. But a lot of the time, especially I know from in the military, it can be just with one person and all of that kit
yeah,
and equipment on your flick, tick, whatever you want to call it, which is really, really, it's quite a stressful job. You really got to have all your ducks in one row, so to speak. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Would
yeah,
you agree?
yeah, definitely, and especially when you and other things as well, like people with licenses as well, like forklift and what's the other one? Reach and PPT, which is like the powered pump truck.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm using jargon there. So yeah, like PPT, powered pump trucks and stuff like that. Yeah, you need people with the correct licenses to operate the MHE stuff. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't worry about it. I'm still finding it hard now, even like, well, it's been just over a year coming out of the military, but when I'm talking to civilians over here that have not even been in the military at all, trying to speak their language or the civilian language, I think
yeah,
it's something that may never leave, people that have served, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 odd years in the military, it's just a kind of like a permanent footprint all up there, you know what I mean? So
yeah, the
yeah, that is
phonetic
something I need to
alphabet,
say that again.
as well. I still use it.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, that's definitely one. Yeah. And obviously there's certain particular words as well, that can be something completely different to a normal civilian that's never had that kind of like military,
Mm.
life or anything like that. So, what sort of things that I think people will be quite interested. Obviously, we've touched on, some of the experience that you've done. Okay, but what's been your pinnacle moment in your working career so far that's kind of like been, do you know what? I've really enjoyed doing that.
It
What's
was
your best and what's your worst?
uh, Afghanistan and Germany were my two favourites.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was working because it was working in that military environment day in, day out. And obviously Afghanistan, because it was like that, it was that war zone type thing. Not the war zone. I say it was a battle zone type thing,
yeah,
combat zone. I wouldn't say it was a war zone because uh, um, we were getting like, it was because of the attacks and stuff. I really enjoyed it. I know it's
yeah,
like
for sure.
I know it sounds weird to say that because we were getting attacked, but I really, really enjoyed it.
Made you feel alive, yeah.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did
I
make
know
me feel
exactly the
alive.
feeling. Yeah, I think a lot of military people out there that will be listening to this that have maybe served in Afghanistan and Iraq and places like that can actually, understand what you're trying to say there. It's a very, very strange thing to say to a civilian, but being in that kind of like environment, that hostile environment where, what you need to make sure that you're doing your job at the highest level, and a little mistake can be costly, to whether it's the right kit and equipment, to lives and things like this. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's when people are, being put under pressure is good to a certain extent because you are testing yourself to the highest level. You're finding out a lot about yourself. Would you agree that that's what
yeah,
you found out a lot about yourself when you was in that hostile environment?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. And you say Germany as well. Obviously, that wouldn't have been a hostile environment, but it's still.
I think it was more to do with the fact that I found myself there, if you know what I mean. I
Yeah.
found myself, and like, because I always shied away that I was a reservist, stroke TA, and people that I worked with there just said to me, "No, you signed on the dotted line," type thing. So yeah, don't shy away.
Exactly. And I think it's not so much this day and age now, but I think years and years and years ago, when people were part of the reservists, i.e., the TA, the Territorial Army, people did not feel as important or as a
Yeah,
regular military personnel. I think that's what you're trying to say,
yeah,
isn't it? And that's not
yeah,
such the case. And I think that's now changed, that has, where this day and age now, people that are in the reserves are exactly the same as regulars. Some of them have even had more experience in certain departments. So
yeah,
that's quite good that kind of like banter, that and the military sort of thing that happened years ago has now changed, which is
right.
very important. So, and I'm sure people that are listening to this that are ex-military, full time, and also reservists will be able to hopefully agree with what we're both saying here. So yeah, that's really, really important. And that experience that you have in the military that you've got and that you've had will always benefit you in any sort of role that you do, and not just even in work. Your everyday sort of life, which kind of like leads me quite nicely onto like a sort of person who you are. You know, Obviously you're married. Tell people a little bit about yourself. What makes you tick. And what that sort of thing.
Oh, what makes me tick is in the workplace. What makes me tick is I get on. I get on well with anybody. I treat people how I like to be treated. I don't, and
Good.
that's something that my granddad, rest in peace. Like I loved him to bits. My granddad.
Yeah,
He always taught me don't go in all guns blazing or anything like that. Just treat people how you like to be treated, and then you'll go far. And that's how I've always been. I don't.
that's
I'm
good.
a, I'm a nice I'm a nice person. I don't treat people like rubbish.
No,
That's the polite way of putting it. Because like I don't micromanage people, or when I've been a team leader or a supervisor, I've literally just said, "Would you be able to do this for me, please?" Like if that like there's sweeping up to do, I've treated them, and I've done sweeping up myself. I lead by example,
that's good. That's good.
that sort of thing, and I've trained people up in the past, like especially when I was in Afghanistan. I got like the Indians and the Kenyans that were working for us. I got them trained up on the forklifts because I believed at the time that they deserved it, and they did deserve it because they worked
Yeah,
hard. We trained them up how to do the cargo stuff, and
that's
then
good.
yeah, and as they progressed, they went on from one of the Kenyans went on from a 5K forklift up to the 10K forklift, and he deserved it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just we all worked
So
as a
that's
team. You know,
Yeah,
so
I mean, you just touched on a lot of key words there. So you're a good, you're good at managing people, okay, but also getting people to do what you need them to do, okay, in the working environment, but going about it in the right way, which is very, very, key. Some people don't have that sort of skill, but also as well, you touched on that you have always been willing to get involved and get stuck in with the
yeah,
certain jobs, even if it's not, oh, that's not in my job spec sort of thing. Like,
yeah,
if you need to make the brew for the lads or cleaning or anything like that, it's a team effort, and that's teamwork is really, really key. And people do look for that. So that's good that you've got that skill and you're not afraid to get your hands dirty, basically.
yeah.
So that is good. That is good. So moving on now then. So we've gone through kind of like, your experience or touched on your experiences, which you do have a lot of experience. Obviously, I know you said in your CV, but what's next for Barry? What's your next task? What do you want to do? Where do you want to be?
Well, currently, I'm not dropping hints or anything to anybody, but I am out of work at the moment. Yes.
Fine, no, 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 that's fine.
Yeah, I would like to go back to the Middle East. A few people have said you only want to go out there for the money or anything like that, but to me, the Middle East, to me, it's got lovely weather, it's got lovely people, and the food is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I can echo that. To be fair,
Yeah,
kind of like there's a thing going called the Dubai Stone. So we've been here for just over a year, and because the food's that good, and you take advantage of that food, and it
yeah,
does
you
have an
do.
effect. So also leaving the military and that sort of thing, like, so yeah, it's great out here. It's tough, which because you've been out here anyway,
Yeah,
but once you get the foot in the door, which I'm hoping this podcast will, get you out
yeah,
here,
yeah,
because there
yeah.
is
Touch
companies
wood.
out here that would be very, very interested to take you on. Okay, and you and me have spoken in the past about on LinkedIn, which is something you're still progressing on it. I always do check on you, and if I'm being completely honest, when I
Yeah,
actually talk to people on LinkedIn, when I do a one-to-one with them, I always go onto your profile, and the reason being is because initially when we spoke, you kind of like did not know how to use LinkedIn, and then I showed them the story of where you was and on your posts and how you developed and progressed to I seeing the confidence in you as
yeah,
well. So that's good. So please keep doing that. Keep exploring and showing yourself off on LinkedIn because
yeah.
people will want to be interested in seeing you after they see this podcast, which, this podcast will get aired next week and it's going to be on YouTube. It'll be on Spotify as well. Okay. So it's going to give you a lot of exposure out there, which is really, really key. And it takes quite a lot of guts to do this, you to get up here and express, talk about what you've done, but also, that you're looking for a role in that. And I'm sure that when people see this, that they will be very interested to at least have a conversation with you and have a look at your CV. So, and that's the reason
Definitely.
why I'm starting to do this Mission Transition CV podcast, So,
Yeah.
and you've been the first one on as well, which is great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I thought I had a stalker when keep seeing you on my looking at my profile, but I've got a sense of humour as well.
Exactly, yeah, which is key,
Yeah.
which is key. So, if you get the opportunity to come over here, so you're married and you have children or anything like this, it'd just be you and the wife, or would it be yourself, or are you
Yeah,
quite flexible?
I'm pretty flexible. I've got a wife. I've got my son's left the house now. He's flown the nest now. He's got a nice girlfriend. Has got a child as well. So I'm a freshly new granddad now,
Ah,
officially old.
congratulations.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, my wife won't come over just yet because my father-in-law's pretty pretty rough at the moment.
Yeah,
So yeah, he's a veteran as well, ex 9th 12th. So, but yeah, so she tends to stay here, look after him, but she will come over and show
okay,
her
yeah.
face. But yeah, but that
Well,
that job you posted on Mission Transition earlier on, she'd be good at that.
which one's that?
The
The
cleaning.
Well, do you know what? I was going to going to speak to you about this offline in a minute.
Oh yeah,
We'll finish this off, and then I'll explain a little bit more about that. So I think I saw your wife walk past into the sun, kind of like disappeared,
Yeah,
and I saw a stripy
that,
top
yeah,
go
that's
past.
Afghanistan in the back.
Okay, so
Yeah.
listen, Barry. Oh, hi
She's here.
there. Hi, Mr. Davis. She keeps coming in and out. I can see her face and then it
Yeah,
disappears. Okay, listen, Barry, thank you so much for your time today. Hopefully you've enjoyed this podcast.
I've loved it.
And you've really enjoyed it, yeah? That's good. And
Yeah,
you're quite natural at it as well, which is good. So just the people that are listening today and you've seen this, if you find it's interesting what Barry's had to speak about, okay, he's got a lot to offer. He's a great person. I've spoken to him before this podcast as well in the past. Please either reach out to myself, okay, on Mission Transition, or if you want to speak directly to Barry, his name and his details will be on the link when this podcast gets aired. Okay, so listen to everybody. Thank you very much for listening to this Mission Transition CV podcast, the first one. Okay, hope you've enjoyed it, and if whatever you're doing today, look after yourself, enjoy your weekend, and always remember Mission Transition's motto: strength with Lexi, strength with us. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.
thank you. See
All
ya.
right, man.